Good morning and welcome to my channel. This is Gail. This morning I thought I would share with you some tag making that I've been doing. This is a little tag I thought I would make with you today. This is for a tag swap with Coleen, the Scrapchic, and Kathy Berg. They're hosting it. And so the idea is black and white with a pop of color. So I have started with some watercolor paper, which I have embossed. And this is the embossing folder I used. I'm not sure, I have to clean this. I'm not sure if it's all going to come clean, but it's a permanent ink that I used. It's this archival ink, Jet Black from Ranger. And what I did to emboss it and put the color in there in the creases is I simply rubbed the stamp over this, got it all nice and black. You can see where I pulled it off, and it's lighter here from that tag. And then I ran it through my embossing machine. I happen to have a Gemini. I'm very lucky. So ran that through. And then when it comes out, let me find a blank one up here. Sorry about the reaching. It comes out like this. So it's really kind of cool. And it looks grayish, I know, but it is black ink. But anyhow, so did that. You can see on the back, the embossing. I just love the feel of that. Okay, and again, it's watercolor paper, so it's a little sturdier maybe than cardstock. So did that. Then for this piece, I'll just show you my die cutting. I used this die, and then of course I didn't need the whole piece, so I can get a couple of tags out of that. Keep reaching across you, don't I? Sorry. Okay, and this is how I hope the tag will look when we're done, or neater, of course, but you get the idea. So I will get started and we'll put it together. Okay, so first thing I do is I am going to place this down. Now, don't laugh, but I don't know what it is with me and glue tips. Okay, these are supposed to have a little metal tip, and mine did. But, yeah, it fell down inside at some point, and I can't get it out until I empty the bottle, and then I'll go hunting, I guess. So I'm kind of like gloppier than I would normally be putting on glue, but what you gonna do, right? So I put this on first so I can make sure top to bottom that I have things pretty well balanced. And no, I don't go through and measure. I know I probably should. That's just not me. I do when it's really important, but to me, I can eyeball that. And even if it's off, I can say it's artistic license, part of my design, right? Okay, so now the next thing I generally do is I want to get the flowers down underneath. Let's move this over here and this over here and this. And these little flowers I ordered. And yeah, I do have to admit, AliExpress, and oh, I ordered them, gosh, back, could have been just pre-COVID, I'm guessing, and I just got them. But hey, it's okay. They're really nice because they're clear, and because this challenge called for, or the swap, a pop of color. I didn't want to have anything that's in your face. So, and I did, before I came on, play with placement of the flowers, and I had them reversed, this tall skinny over here and that one over here. Just didn't seem to work out. So, and you'll see why. So, got that down. And now we'll do this one. These actually peel off fairly easily because that's a pretty stiff piece of acetate underneath. It peels right off. So that's wonderful. Okay, now I want to get that down underneath the wax paper, and I kind of, there, wanted it to spray a little bit all the way across. So see, they're there, but they're not like in your face there. It is just a little pop of color. At least I hope that's what people will think. Okay, so I'm going to move her off. I've called her Millicent. Now let me share with you this part. This is, and underneath here, this is dyed wax paper. Now I'm going to put in the details a link to Lori from Grammy's Keepsakes video where she shows you how to make this beautifully dyed paper. Now she and I spent a couple of days working on dyeing some. I think we did 6 or 8 colors, and I can't remember. It was like over 100 pieces of paper, I think, or close to 100 when we were done. And so wouldn't recommend doing that because, oh my goodness, our backs hurt, our legs hurt from bending and putting all the papers down out in the grass and picking them up and then sitting and ironing the paper, because it will tend to shrivel up and shrink. And the consistency now, you do not feel the wax on this at all now. It feels really soft, and no stiffness, no wax. That's pretty much gone. So when you go to glue it down, it's a piece of cake. Okay. And let me see, I have a little pencil mark so I know roughly where I need to put it. I did do that ahead of time. And you can see, because it's wax paper, it is thin, and you can see the design through it if that was the desired effect that I wanted. Really didn't matter on this. I just wanted to give it some color to kind of go with the colors in my little paper dolls. Okay, so now I'm going to glue this down. This is a little bit harder without the fine tip, I must confess. It's a lot messier, but gotta do what I gotta do. And by the way, the glue that's in here is not art glitter glue, although I love art glitter glue. I did buy some of that Barely Art, I believe it's called, glue, and about the same price or close to that of our glitter glue. And the good thing about it is that, unlike our glitter glue, apparently you can mail it out in the winter. So with our glitter glue, you know, you have to stock up because they won't deliver in the winter, because I guess it doesn't work after it's been frozen. So this, apparently that isn't true, for you can get it any time of the year. And I like it because it gives a bit more time where you can move things around. Whereas we all know with our glitter glue, once you put it down, it better be where you want it, because there's little to no time to move. So, just saying. That's an advantage of this. And I know this is really sloppy and it's icky on my fingers, but don't really have much of a choice because of losing the tip down inside of the glue bottle. And I know if Lori's watching, she's just shaking her head going, only you, Gail, only you. What can I say? If it's going to happen, it'll happen to me. Okay, so now I want to put that down. This is just to give a base. Oops, there we go. Got to move that over. Loosen it a little bit. There. This is just a base for them to stand on, the little paper dolls, or to sit on. And I really wanted some options for using my wax paper. And this is so cool. Just so cool. Okay. Ugh, icky sticky, for sure. Okay, so now, whoops, there we go. Yeah, it's a little sloppier than I would like, but hey, such is life. Now, this, has the little sticky on it, but I don't trust it. So I am going to definitely put down some glue just to be safe, because that stuff doesn't always hold. I know it looks like I'm, putting tons of glue down, but can't help it. It's really coming out strong. Okay. And there. Okay. Alrighty. Well, I forgot to ask, how's everybody doing? I hope you're having a great day. It is early, early morning here. I really was exhausted yesterday, and I fell asleep, I don't know, 4 o'clock-ish. I think I just came in and said I've got to lay down, take a little nap, and yeah, woke up at 10:30. So I've kind of had my night's sleep already. Don't really like to do that, but my sleeping patterns have really changed up in the last few months. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, but anyhow, okay. Sorry, just gonna say, excuse my fingers, because I've been working on these tags and so they're nasty looking. Okay, now you should know that these little sayings I pre-cut out and distressed around the edges. And what I used to distress, I was consistent, is this jet black. And so let me put this down. And I will look and see if I still have the info on where these came from. These little sayings. There were quite a few really cute sayings. This one says, speak beautiful things. And, oh yes, here we go. These are from HG Designs Co. And I will put that information in the description box below as well for you. Okay? And so next thing is to put my little paper doll down. These come from Lisa's Altered Art on Etsy. And there are just tons of them. They're adorable. I love the color. I like, the black and white are cool, but I really do like a little pop of color. And these little paper dolls definitely give you that. As you can see, I already distressed inked, well, not distressed, but inked around the edges. I do like using, I usually don't use jet black, but I find I kind of have been liking using it on this project because it's a bit like taking a Stabilo and inking around the edge, which helps to highlight the little paper doll. So can't complain about that at all. Okay, there she is sitting up there on that little whatever. Okay, and I decided to name her Millicent. Okay, what I did was I went through looking for old-fashioned names, um, and of course there are the biblical names that I have a bunch of those. Oh my goodness, way too much ink. Goodness gracious, Gail. Mm, mm, mm. Golly gee, me and my glue. Okay, so gonna put that there. And I didn't want the names to be like huge or anything, but I wanted them to be there. And I just thought it was a cute little addition to give them names. Now, I will say I was inspired by Roxy Creations by Sarah, Sarah is Rachel's sister. She did, um, she had a similar idea. That's where I first saw these little paper dolls. And then she started naming them, and I thought that was just a precious idea. Now, these little things, they're metal, and they have sticky behind them. However, again, I don't trust it. Now, because it's metal, what I have in here is, of course, Fabri-Tac. And you can see I've got like a big old bubble, in there because it's starting to tell me I didn't spill that. Oops, got it. Whew. I have had the dropsies the last few days. I dropped a whole container with my crocodile, and I have the crocodile that has all the eyelets in with it. Yeah, all of it fell everywhere, eyelets. That's the second time I've done that. So I don't feel like that should open up so easily and spill. So I found a different container and rearranged all of my eyelets so that each different kind of eyelet, like I have one for silver, one for gold, etc. But every single one of them, I can't really see if it feels like it's coming out. Hopefully it is. Anyhow, so they now each have their own little container that has a lid on it so that if the container spills, they're individually packaged and shouldn't open up because they have screw-on caps. Woohoo! So now I had these in sort of a silver color and then a gold. And these actually came from my husband. I've been trying to run around and go through a lot of his jewelry and watchmaking stuff that has been here in the basement. He did do a little bit of work at home after he had a stroke and couldn't really go back to it in the store. But he would do some things here at home and, help people out. But after his stroke, he really could not. The small things, his hands shook. He had a fine trimmer, so it was hard for him to do the jewelry work and all of that, unfortunately. But, so I still have some of his goodies that are very old. Okay, so I have this really neat box. What's neat about this box? Look at the cute little compartments. Is that not adorable? And what's even better, oh my God, it has these little envelopes. So when you pull these little pieces out, you have these little envelopes left. So be looking for these because I'll be using them in some of my projects. I just love it. It's so cool. But I have lots of little boxes that have tons of watch crystals. Some are glass and some are like what, that like plastic, plexiglass, I don't know, whatever. But unfortunately, I do have like thousands. I'm not exaggerating. And people don't wear those old-timey kinds of watches anymore. So I've been trying to use them up in projects, and I'll never use that many. So if you guys have any good ideas, let me know. I've been thinking of trying to make like little jewelry, and I've been adding them to tags when I can. And I just realized I forgot to do something, so I'm going to very carefully do it now. I forgot to use this around the edges, and truly, there's not much that shows up on this. So it's just to give it a little background stamping. So maybe up here, down there, a little bit up here, maybe a little down there. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to show up much for sure. Barely see it, but it's there. I know it's there. So, yeah. There we have that. So we have some background going on there. Now, one more thing for decoration. I had these little crown sticker thingies, and some of the dolls have crowns already. I'll show you some of the other ones, and some don't. But I kind of thought she needed a crown. So we'll give her a little crown. They all should have a crown. They're all little princesses for the day, right? So now, all that's left is we need to put some paper on the back to journal on, right? So let me find this paper. Sorry again for reaching. And so just going to glue that down, and hope everybody's doing okay with school back in session for many school districts, or in one way, shape, or form. Some schools around here are totally virtual for right now, and some are face-to-face with the option to be virtual. So kind of interesting to hear from my colleagues who are still out there and teaching. And I have to say, I've taught online before, as well as in the regular classroom. Of course, I feel like the best option is in person, because making those connections with students is so very important. And the social aspect, I feel, is very important for children. And I taught young adults mostly high school and middle school is what I taught, but I am certified in elementary for Spanish, and I have taught Spanish to elementary students, and I did that online and on TV. I was one of the pioneers in this area in distance learning, TV teaching, if you will. So it was pretty unnerving. When I took the job, I wasn't sure I wanted it, truthfully, when I interviewed for it, because I knew that it involved teaching on the TV, and don't really much like looking at myself that much on TV and in cameras and whatever. And I have to say, I took the job because we needed the money, and I needed an upgrade in insurance because I had an ill husband, and I didn't regret it one bit. It certainly was a challenge, but it was fun and it was challenging. And when I taught, I stood in front of a bank of TVs. There were 4 or 5 TVs directly in front of me. So I saw myself on that many TVs. And then off to my right side and in the front that I couldn't see unless I leaned way over the console that I stood in front of, there were the same amount again. And that's because when I taught to more than one school at a time, which was quite a challenge because of different school schedules. Not everybody, started school at the same time and had class periods that ended at the same time, so that was a challenge. And when I first started teaching on TV, beside that, we were like on the very far end of the spectrum at that time, like 98, 99, 100, something up in that end. And apparently, yeah, we were interrupted a lot by Breaker 19, good buddy. Oh, yes, the truckers and the ham radios and whatever. So I would be teaching a class, and all of a sudden the kids would hear Breaker 19, putting the pedal to the metal, or other expletives that weren't really user friendly, if you know what I mean. So we had to shut down for the hour if the truckers were being a little colorful. And so at that point, all we had, there were no cell phones or any of that. And at that point, the only way that I could communicate with the students otherwise was through a fax machine and a telephone. So I would then have to fax over something for them to do or call over and let them know what they should do while we waited for our trucker friends to get off the air and restart class or not. And oh, there were days too when there were so many technical difficulties because cable was new. And so it would just go out sometimes, and I'd go in there to start class, and it was a mess. So I had students in front of me in a classroom, sometimes up to 30 kids, and they had little microphones on the tables and speakers, and oh yes, it was interesting for them, interesting for me. And then I would teach to different schools. Most of those, probably the most I had were like 10 kids in those classes, but you have your own kids. Then you have these different schools with 10 kids or so. And I think the idea was to be able to teach to 4 or 5 different schools. But again, scheduling was a nightmare. So anyhow, it was fun, but it was a challenge. And I think because I was teaching on TV, we were also on the open airwaves. So anybody that had cable could tune in. And one of my students at a distance school's mom worked at a bar. So apparently all the people in the bar watched the class every day with me and the kids. And I know one of the aides in my school district was telling me how her and her husband watched every day too. I was like, oh my goodness, so everything you're doing and saying is out there, and it's just a little nerve-wracking. It makes it, because you never know what kids are going to do and say, and it doesn't matter to them that they're on the open airwaves and people can hear them and whatever. And believe me, I had some interesting kids that year. Some of the things they did, oh my goodness. So, yeah, such is life, though, let me tell you. It was fun, though. And then I've also taught, on the computer and had classes, created classes from scratch and taught them. So, what said all that to tell you that it's tough what all the teachers are going through, and the students and families too. So I do feel for everyone. It's everybody's having to adjust, and it's a challenge, but I think, we just have to do what we have to do to get by right now, and things will get better. And unfortunately, I do think, though, that there will be more and more classes online and less in person. That's just my opinion, but I've kind of seen that coming down the road from even when I taught online. It used to be that in our contract, there was a stipulation that no class could be taught over the distance learning on the TV, if you will, at that point, or even later, online, if it was offered in person in the district. So the idea was some of our smaller districts would be able to share teachers, for those classes like physics, where you don't have, used to be anyhow, they were smaller upper level classes, and you might want an AP physics or an AP calc, but you don't have enough for a full class. Well, then you share and have kids from other schools that you're teaching over the TV as well. So anyhow, so it's kind of like an early form of Zoom, I guess. But it has its challenges. It's certainly come a long way. So it's been fun to see what's happened with education for sure. But anyhow, so that's the story, and I'm sticking to it. So this is, I don't want to pull too hard because this is still damp from all the glue. So let's see. Anything else? Let's see. Oh, yep, here's one more thing that I have to remember to do when it's for a swap. And I know they have all those cutesy little printed out ATC thingies, forms where you can write the number and the name and all that good stuff. But the most important thing is to sign it and date it. So I know it's September now, but I had the bulk of them done in August, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay, now how about I show you some of the other ones I made, and then we'll be done. Okay, so this is number 9. I have one more to go. Whoop, whoop. Okay, so there's cutesy little Millicent. This is Hattie, and she says different doesn't mean wrong. I don't know, though, her little crown, it doesn't show up very well. I might have to outline that. Then this here is Lilibeth. She says, do it for yourself. Okay. Then there's Victoria. I am endlessly evolving. Indeed. This is Blythe. I loved that name. My daughter was either going to be called Blythe or Tiffany. Tiffany won out, and believe me, she's not a Blythe. She would say that too. Nothing but blue skies. Oh, yes. And notice, blue. It is well with my soul. And this is Elizabeth. That's my sister's name. Isn't she cute? Okay, this is Zadie with a Z. Life is too short to wait. And this is S for Scarlet. Notice the coloration. You are your only limit. She has such a sweet face. And this one is Clarabelle. Catch the C. And it says, leave your fear behind you. Okay, so that's 9. I have one more to go. And then I think 2 complimentary, one for each of the hosts. So thanks for stopping by today. Hope you enjoyed my little tag session. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you if you're a new subscriber. Trying to get to 700. So hopefully soon I'll get there and I can do a giveaway. Also, speaking of getting up in subbies, my friend Lori from Grammy's Keepsakes is trying to get to 3,000, and she's so close. So if you haven't checked her out, be sure to check in the description box and follow that video over to her channel and subscribe. Lori is an excellent teacher. Excellent. and you will learn a lot from her. And she makes some beautiful, beautiful writing journals. And she's always experimenting and trying new things. So check her out and be watching. Lori's coming this weekend to do some crafting with me, and we might try to do another live stream. We'll see how it goes. Last time we had problems with my internet here, so we'll see. Have a great Labor Day weekend if you celebrate it. Relax and enjoy. I hope this inspired you to go out there and create something. Take care, stay healthy. Bye bye.